So there's this concept that the thing that you most need to find will be where you least want to look, which if you think about the whole Southwest situation, it couldn't be more narratively accurate. Like the CEO is literally lying and blaming Biden, saying, I didn't want to do a vaccine mandate. Please don't spout all your ire at me. It's Biden's fault, when he's actively implementing a mandate that has no legal backing. Like, I think the federal mandate was just filed, so it doesn't go into effect anytime soon. So there is no legal basis for Southwest to be treating their employees this way. And also their employees are just, this is happening randomly or coincidentally, or, well, let's just say it's inevitable that you say that at least 10% of your working force is going to be fired, so they're going to use their sick time, and it's just happening automatically. And so this reason why I say that initial quote about the thing that you most need to find will be where you least want to look is because that's a commentary on the entire sort of political narrative, especially about this vaccine mandate stuff. It's like that old Queen Gertrude trope, like, methinks you doth protest too much. It's like, if you're protesting so much about this, especially the people who've already been vaccinated, it's like, why are you so angry? Why are you so upset that people are, my body, my choice, like they're choosing their freedom, regardless of how you feel about the issue in regards to the medical, everything's so just, everything is such baggage nowadays. But very specifically, just why are the vaccinated so upset about the unvaccinated? Well, maybe it's because every single aspect and cog of the political machine is pushing one specific narrative. You have the technocratic information loop, you have the entertainment industry, you have academia, you have the pharmaceutical industry, all pushing the same narrative. And if you're sucking on it hook, line, and sinker, there's got to be a part of your subconscious that's like, maybe I'm the one that's been hoodwinked by a pedophilic elite that's trying to do things that are outside my comprehension. Maybe there's people who just want less traffic and are annoyed by all of this population thing, and maybe the global elite doesn't have my best interests in heart, and maybe the ultra rich who are benefiting from this 2-year pandemic have ulterior motives. I mean, that could be quite possible, but no, I just want to get back to normal. Like, do you see what I mean? It's a cognitive dissonance. Like, if you lay out the narrative in your head, just from a narrative perspective, it touches the objective nature of what's happening. Like, if you wrote this stuff, it would be foreshadowing a horrible, potentially banal, but potentially nefarious result when you're ostracizing and segregating elements of society based upon a medical issue that people should have their own personal body autonomy, or however you say that. People should have our own personal autonomy, and to put people in this sort of we think concept that it doesn't matter what you put in your body, it matters what the collective does. I mean, that's really dangerous, and it's a direct assault on individual sovereignty, which people can attack Western society as much as they want, but individual sovereignty is a pretty human concept that's, it's in the hero's journey. It's from Gilgamesh on, like this idea that meaning comes from finding responsibility in your own sort of hero's journey and seeking the Holy Grail. Like, self-realization lies where you don't want to go. I mean, that's a really deep concept, and people have to actively ignore that to live in this society and not think the things that are going on, their conscience, not have their conscience respond automatically and send these alerts, these animalistic alerts that there are lions eating the herd, and the only way to deal with that is to just go further into the herd for most people. And so it's almost, you almost can't blame them for the psychological fear response of being like, just get all the vaccinated out, or get all the unvaccinated out, I'm vaccinated, everything needs to go back to normal, I just want to fly, I just want to get to my couch, I just want to get to my mother-in-law, I don't understand why there's all this stuff happening, just vaccinate me and I'll shut up, and just everyone to shut up. And that's where they are. And so when they see that there's a large percentage of people who are not just bowing to authority and saying, no, I'm not going to do the thing you told me because I have interest in my own autonomy and my own choices, my own individual sovereignty, and I care about what I put in my body. That's not enough for these people. That creates anger. That creates this sort of like herd-like response that says, like, oh, get in the herd. The lions are going to eat you unless you get the vaccine. What are you doing? You're going to get out the whole herd killed. You need to. So what? The only animalistic result from that is to kill the weaklings, quote unquote, that aren't helping the herd. So they're trying. This is just such a psychologically animalistic thing to do, to push out and ostracize the marked ones, the ones that have the yellow stars on their jackets, the ones who have the unvaccinated blood, and get them out because they're a threat to us. It's selfish. It's not altruistic. It's not think of the good of everyone. No, they're using that as a smokescreen for your own safety, for the good of all. That's a smokescreen, a lie for people's own selfishness. They just want to fly somewhere. They just want to drive somewhere. They just want things to go back to normal. They want their fragile psychology to be validated by a banal, content existence that has as little stress as possible. People choose pleasantness and aesthetic appeal and low stress and comfort over authenticity and truth and reality and the nature of what's going on, which is using people for political gain, letting people die on one political spectrum or the other to get political points. Both sides are abhorrently screwed up when it comes to using human life to get likes on Facebook, to get Twitter likes. And the scariest thing about that is getting that validation is so that they feel validated, that the government seems optically validated so that more people won't have these sort of thoughts and think about, wait, there's something screwed up with the narrative. From a strictly objective point of view, this narrative seems like there's something else going on. If the vaccine doesn't help with transmission, it doesn't help with prevention, it maybe helps with the symptoms, but we're seeing huge hospitalization rates for vaccinated in countries like Israel, which are over 90% vaccinated, double vaccinated. Most of the people who are in the hospital or on ventilators are vaccinated, and that's in the books. But the mainstream media doesn't want to talk about that because it threatens the narrative. And so if anybody looks at this for 5 seconds, they're like, wait, I have to be being lied to because there are just blatant discrepancies in the data. That person's instantly shut down or ostracized. Well, then that means that there's something dark going on. Strictly just from a narrative perspective, if you think about it, there has to be some ulterior motive to this. And so if you think about the Southwest CEO picking every excuse to mystify the issue, it's like, no, look where you don't want to look, people. They are actively hurting society in some way. And we can look at this from a macro abstract perspective and be like, okay, wait, there's something going on that makes us feel icky. And at the very least, we can agree on that. Before we move forward and literally into this fall and winter when there's going to be all these supply issues, all of the people aren't going to be able to fly home for the holidays and people are going to be furious, remember who to blame it on. It's the people driving this narrative. Don't so blindly bend the knee to the people who are pulling your strings. Okay?